Welcome to the Haney Biz Project with Mark Haney. Mark is a serial investorpreneur and the chief dreaming officer of the Haney Biz Companies. He's working tirelessly to ignite the entrepreneurial revolution and share the inspiring stories of the region's most influential leaders. And now, here's Mark Haney.
All right. Welcome to the Haney Biz Project. I'm Mark Haney, and I'm here with Marcus Haney, and we are on a mission to ignite the entrepreneurial revolution right here in Sacramento, one entrepreneur at a time, one conversation at a time. And you know, these conversations have stories in them, Marcus. This show is about storytelling, and we tell the good stories, the stories about winning, the stories about putting food on the table for our family, the stories about Sacramento businesses succeeding, and today is no different. How you doing today, Marcus?
I am fired up to be here, excited to hear from our guests, too.
Are you banging today?
Hey, I stay banging. You know how I do it.
That means we are at our very best. We always ask, are you hanging or are you banging? Hanging is good, but banging is when we're at our very best opportunities. And that means, putting a little bit of work in it. And we asked the question over in our newsletter this week, what do you do with a great idea? And the answers that kind of came back to me were, you got to work the idea, but how do you work that idea? That's the question. Marcus, thoughts? I mean, don't you think sometimes people, when they say, I just the other day, I was in a room and I raise your hand. How many of you guys think on a scale of 1 to 10, you're like at level 8 in terms of ambition? And, nobody raised their hand. How about 9? A few more hands go up. 10.
Everybody.
The rest of the hands go up. Other people are like 11, right? Everybody's saying how ambitious they are. And I thought to myself, you know what, do you guys work weekends? Are you guys have Xbox that you do at the end of the night? I mean, what do you do when work is done? Because some of the most ambitious people in the world, they really don't take days off, Marcus.
Yeah, well, I'll use you as an example. I mean, you're here at the office 7 days a week. And
that's because your mother kicks me out of the house.
Oh, well, we don't want to talk about that. But what I was going to say is that, when you have ambition, it doesn't really count like work. It doesn't really feel like work if you have a goal that you're really trying to chase after and really have a dream that you're approaching. And, if you want to make something great, you really have to put all your effort into that thing.
You do. And today we're going to have some guests on the show who know a little bit about great ideas, how to work those ideas, and what ambition is all about. I mean, now we're going to have proof today that now is the right time to be an entrepreneur, right? There's never been a more exciting time in America to be an entrepreneur, and we are going to have proof. We're going to hear some stories today that prove that now is the time, and it's also going to prove that it doesn't matter how old or how young you are, you can have a successful entrepreneurial venture and even come away with some huge victories. Best way to learn is by getting ourselves into the game, getting ourselves dirty. And the earlier we do that, the better that is. And today we are going to be talking to some young guys that got in the game early. Later in the show, we're going to meet some guys with some unbridled confidence and the work ethic to support it. The founder of Freeform Factory and the new VP of Nikola's Powersports. He is Jordan Darling, and along with South Bay Scenic, Danny Burke. But coming up after the break, we'll meet the most innovative and hardworking founder of SkySlope, Mr. Tyler Smith. Join the revolution at HaneyBiz.com, courtesy of 5 Star Bank. This is the Haney Biz Project.
Now, back to the Haney Biz Project with host Mark Haney.
All right. Welcome back to the Haney Biz Project, brought to you courtesy of Sun System Technology. I'm Mark Haney, and today I am joined by Tyler Smith, the founder and CEO of SkySlope. How you doing, Tyler?
I'm doing pretty good.
Thanks for coming on the show again, and I wanted to get the update because great things are happening for Tyler Smith and for SkySlope. But before we get into the recent events, maybe we can give a little history. What is SkySlope and how did you get it started?
Yeah, it's a SaaS-based business. We sell directly to brokers.
Software as a service.
Yeah, software as a service. Sorry. Yeah.
Sometimes software is not a service. It's software as a disservice.
Yeah.
But in your case, you're helping realtors.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So we're a B2B business, sell directly to the broker. we help them completely automate their entire back-end operations for their brokerage. So you guys use our software.
We do. When we started Haney Garcia Realty Group, we were all getting ready to place this big purchase order for some file cabinets, and we bought this like $8,000 copy machine, and we were all set up to be realtors. And then we discovered SkySlope, where, you don't really need all that paper. The filing cabinets, you don't need them. You guys have basically eliminated all of that and a lot of other stuff out of the real estate transaction.
Sure, yeah.
And, okay, so what, in terms of your business, you were a realtor and a successful realtor.
Yeah.
And then how did this turn into a software as a service business?
Yeah, so I got into real estate when I was 19. I bought a house, and my mom's like, "You're crazy." And I said, "Hey, this realtor was like not great. So one, I'm dropping out of college. I'll pay you back one day. Number one. Number two, I'm going to be a realtor." And she's like, "Oh, great. Like, good luck with that." I mean, you had to pick to be a realtor. And so I got into business because my realtor didn't do a great job. She didn't get a home inspection, didn't get anything, done to the property. The hot water heater broke day one. And I'm like, if she could make $13,000, and do a bad job, sign me up. I mean, at 19, making 13 grand, you're a millionaire. Right?
Well, yeah. Well, let me just interrupt you there because it feels like you didn't follow the customary path to successful entrepreneurship, or at least what the textbooks might tell us, right? Go get your 4-year degree, maybe go get your master's, and MBA, and then work for somebody for 5 years, get some experience, get your 10,000 hours in, and then maybe jump out there and take a leap when you're like 32 years old. You've already bet this. You started this in when you were in your 20s, not doing it the traditional route.
No. Yeah, I mean, I don't. I think back then I didn't listen to anyone. So I don't think if you told me to go to college or not, I think I was just trying to play and do something different every time. I got bored really quick. So
you became a realtor. Your mom raised her eyebrows and said, "Okay, Tyler, we'll see about this."
Yeah, and I ate crap for a while. I didn't do well my first year. I think the only house I sold my first year was to my girlfriend at the time's father, and it was like $500,000. So I mean, that lasted me for like 2 years, right? Because I made like $15,000, and so at 20, that's a lot of money. I mean, it's a lot of money anyways, but it's at 20, you're like rich, right?
Yeah.
And so I from there I got into coaching. I said, if I'm going to learn, no one can teach me. I need to go with the best. Top football players have coaches. Michael Jordan has a coach. So that's right when I said I'm going to get a coach. Went and found a coach. And that's when I really put a lot of disciplines in place. It's kind of like every 2 weeks we would talk. And so I think you guys know what happens is you have a list of 10 things to do. And if you don't have a coach, you don't do them. And if you do, you do them the night before, right? It's like homework last minute, but it's accountability. And so I'm all about, holding myself accountable and making sure I'm trying to surround myself with people who are going to push me to a different level.
So you have this idea, you become a realtor, you end up becoming a very successful realtor. You had some work ethic, you made a lot of the right decisions early on throughout the financial crisis. We're talking about what, 2007, 2008?
Yeah, so when the market started to go down, I was doing decent. I was doing about 200 units a year.
Wow.
And then I saw an opportunity to represent like Litton Loan Servicing and also like Goldman Sachs on their portfolio properties on a lot of their foreclosures and short sales. So from there, I built a team and we did like 700, 800 deals a year as a team. And that's kind of when I found the need for, to get rid of files. If you can imagine like an office and paper, you have files that are about, 2 inches thick if you're doing it right in real estate in California in any case. And you're storing all those files in boxes like this in front of you right here. And then also you're storing them off site after every single year for 3 years. So I said there's just got to be a better way. This was kind of before Dropbox was out, so I kind of created like a shared file folder. That's how it started, and obviously it's evolved quite a bit since then.
So you had this idea, and then people started asking you, "Hey, Tyler, how do you stay so organized? How do you keep the files so minimized, I suppose, in terms of paper?" And then people wanted to use your system?
Yeah, I used it for myself. So it was actually called Smith Premier Portals, Smith Premier Properties Portal Inc.com, the longest, ugliest, weirdest name. But I thought I was cool. You're 23. I'm like, Mom, I got a domain. I mean, it's super awesome. But it was a long, long name. And so a lot of my business friends who were realtors said, "Hey, what are you using, right? Like, how are you managing all these files?" So what we did was we networked with top realtors around the all 50 states. We formed a little group, a little forum. from, because we weren't in competing areas, I'd say like, hey, what are some of your best practices in Arizona? What are yours in California? What are yours in Nevada? And what we did was they would all say, what are you using for paperless? You know, and at that time it was just paperless. No one, right now, everyone knows what the cloud is, but back then, like, what's the cloud? Where's my documents? What are they? And so that's kind of how it started.
So getting in there early with that idea, turning it into a business, right? Starting basically from scratch as a realtor, and now your software as a service, you're not acting as a realtor any longer, but you built this company into hundreds of employees. How many employees do you have?
Over 100.
Over 100?
Like 100 and, I don't know, 3 to 10, like 13, somewhere around there.
So you guys are based out of Sacramento. You and I are in the Entrepreneurs Organization together, and we have meetings at your office occasionally, and you walk through Tyler Smith's office, and there's this vibe, right? It's like a cool, upscale, I guess trendy, sort of Google-esque type of feel, and it's awesome. It's turned into a significant sized company.
Yeah. We started in my third bedroom with our employee who's still with us today, Ryan Bishop, and it was a little weird. We're all sharing one desk.
Shared a bedroom too. That's awkward.
Yeah, he told his dad, he's like, "Hey, I'm going to work at some guy's third bedroom house," and it was a little weird. So thankfully he stuck it out, and so we moved from there to a small strip mall next to a tanning salon and a nail salon, which got a little bit worse. It was hard to recruit, and then that's when a DJ, my buddy, who's a COO, a co-founder, came in and said, hey, if we're going to recruit really good salespeople, they're not going to work out of the place next to the nail salon. So we moved from there to an old beer bottling warehouse downtown, and then about a year ago, actually a year and 2 months ago, we moved in the space that you're familiar with.
Really cool space downtown.
Energy. Yeah,
and I think the news of the day, you know, we have Jordan Darling coming up in the next segment, and he has some exciting news. But I mean, you have some news as well. Maybe not everybody in Sacramento knows about your business because you sell all over the country. Your software is all over the country. I know only a smaller percentage of your business is right here in Sacramento. You're kind of like a great kept secret, but the recent news is starting to buzz around town. Talk to us about what's happened to you in the last 60 days.
Yeah, so so the company self-funded from start, and so what we did was we built it up, and about, I don't know, 3 months ago, probably 4 months ago, is when we started having some serious conversation with private equity companies and said, you know, hey, maybe it's time to take some chips off the table, or, you know, we can grow a lot faster. We want to really double the engineering staff. As you guys know, engineering is a pretty big expense. Yeah. No, also we want to double, you know, our product team. We're going to double our employee count. And so right away we said, okay, is it time to, you know, keep self-funding it? Is it time to, you know, take some chips off the table? Let's really, you know, are we going to be able to hit home runs with the limitations we have? So we've been talking with some folks that were interested, and we got a pretty nice term sheet from a private equity company, and it was a lot better than we thought it would be. So we took that and ran a process with a banker, one of the best bankers in my opinion that's in our industry. And I'm going
to slow this down just for our listenership. So when you run a process, you hire an investment banker who's kind of like a business broker, and he goes out and helps you to get the best valuation for your company, get the best terms.
Yeah, so so this guy Chris is in the Bay Area, San Francisco, with GCA Capital. He represents a lot of SaaS real estate companies. They're global, so they represent everyone. But his specific, I think, his expertise. He might correct me, but I mean, SaaS-based businesses, real estate verticals. He's had plenty of success with exits, and him and I have just built a relationship over the last couple of years. And I'm like, hey, I just want to pick your brain. I've got, you know, if you can give me some advice. And he's always given me free advice, just building the relationship. And he's like, I think we should run a process. And so typical process is they may put you in front of like 40 or 50, sometimes even 60 different businesses. Yeah. I said, hey, we're operators, you know, both DJ and I are heads down grinding. I don't have time to step away from the business and go on the road show here. You know, if we're going to do this, we want to run a very specific process, very strategic, with certain players that we think can meet our needs. You know, we wanted, 1, a great partner. That was number 1. 2, someone that believed in the vision of us. And then 3, we really wanted to still, you know, run what we were doing. And so we were looking in the beginning at a minority round. And he's like, that's no problem at all. But let's talk to some strategics as well. I think that you're crazy not to talk to them. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain, and I've got the connection. So the day we shook his hand, a week later, we were in front of 5 or 6 people, presentations. Then the second week were another like 9 or 10. And from there, term sheets started, coming in. Yeah, he did a fantastic job.
That's great. And then the climactic ending, what happened that made the news?
Yeah, so we sold a majority interest to Fidelity. So Fidelity is a publicly traded company. They're a pretty big company, and they saw and shared the same values and visions of what we did. The owner, Bill Foley, the president and chairman, is fantastic and has this vision and is hungry and wants to just truly create an experience for the consumer and for everyone that's around the transaction. Just fantastic. So
and in terms of what day was that when that happened?
Like we closed?
When the check hit your bank account, what day was that?
October 2nd.
How did that?
I'll never forget that day.
October 2nd. That wasn't that long ago. So the last 40 days, 45 days, how has your life changed?
Yeah, so that's an interesting question. I'm not.
That's a big check we're talking about.
Yeah,
and I don't know if you're going to disclose that, but
no,
you got a big check.
I'm not really good. What's really changed? It's weird, because most people are like, all right, you're going to go on vacation and go to this, and I'm not really good. That's a problem of mine. I'm not really good at celebrating.
Well, you've never been to Disneyland. That's what I suggest.
I have never been to Disneyland.
So how does this successful guy with front row tickets to the Kings game? He's never been to Disneyland. And now, so he sells his company. What? Okay, you haven't done that much yet. You just kind of been.
I've been working more now. I've worked more these last 42 days than I probably did as far as hour-wise the last 60 days prior.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so that's the topic of today's show. We only have a short period of time left on the show, but when I talk about what do you do with a great idea, one of the things you got to do is work the idea. And some people work ideas a lot harder than others. You talk about you're working more now than you did before the sale occurred, but you were one of the hardest working guys I knew in entrepreneurship before this. Now you're saying you're working harder. What's a work day look like for a guy like Tyler Smith?
Yeah, I feel like I'm always working. I wake up at like 4. I'm a little weird about time. I think you know that. I'm an early bird, and so I'll wake up, do emails. I like to respond to emails to just get those done, urgent ones. And it gets people kind of like thinking in the morning when they get up, kind of like, kind of preps their day. I go and work out every single morning, and then I go to the office around probably 7:30 to 8:30-ish, somewhere around that time. In between, I'm probably working, before that, after I get out of the shower and stuff. But I'm like, last night I got home at like 9:30, 10.
Wow.
Yeah. The
so
night before
kind of
was
like 4 to
10.
9.
Yeah.
Right? Incredible. I mean, there's 168 hours a week, and you're working 12, 16-hour days regularly. You can work 80, 90 hours. Most people think, 40 hours is a full day. Not Tyler Smith.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I don't equivalent hours to success, right? You can spend. I can do a lot of dumb things throughout the day and have no success. And I wish there's a different. I think if I found a faster way, if I was able to work 2 hours, I think that would be great. I would probably do it, but I'd probably get bored and find something else to do the other 10 hours. So I wouldn't put hours. I don't look at hours as success, but I think it's all about execution. We have something in our office. We say innovation's rewarded, but execution's worship. You can have a great idea, but if you don't actually take the right steps to actually execute on it, it's a failure. You can have a cure for cancer, but if you don't have the right team to actually execute, it doesn't mean anything.
And you've developed an incredible team over there. But just one last question as we think about working an idea, right, and work ethic. We have entrepreneurs listening to this show, people who are thinking, hey, I might want to become an entrepreneur, right? You're 32, 33
34.
years old? Oh, you're 30.
I just turned 34.
You've aged a little bit since
October
we
20th.
met each other. Yeah. So what would you tell the next, right, you're a young guy, you got started when you're 20 in real estate, just as not just as a realtor, which is entrepreneurial by nature. And then you've turned it into something that is really life-changing from a financial standpoint. And for a lot of other people, it's been life-changing. What would you tell the next guy in line?
I think for me, I think it's changed. If you asked me like 2 years or 3 years ago, I probably would have said something different. But I think it's all about failing fast. I think we're only alive for a certain amount of time, and I would rather fail 50 times and have 4 home runs than have 1 home run and fail 2 times. So I'm all about going as fast as I can, failing as fast as I can to get as many home runs as I can, because we're so lucky. We're only literally alive for a very short amount of time, I think, and I wish I was alive forever, because I think just with technology in the world 100 years from now is going to be just mind-blowing. So
wow, it is. There's never been a greater time than now to be an entrepreneur. Tyler Smith, SkySlope, built an incredible company, had a very successful conclusion or transition into the next part of his life because he's staying on to to run the company. And, that's an incredible thing. And I just can't think but to say, this job as a radio show interviewer, I mean, I have a front row seat to people who are changing the history of entrepreneurship right here in Sacramento, right before my very eyes. Tyler, I want to thank you for your friendship and for coming on the show. Coming up after the break, we will meet the innovative founder of Freeform Factory, Mr. Jordan Darling. We will hear the exciting news about his electric jet ski company in just a minute. Join the revolution at HaneyBiz.com, courtesy of Audi Rockland. This is the Haney Biz Project.
Welcome back to Mark Haney, igniting the entrepreneurial revolution with the Haney Biz Project.
Welcome back to the Haney Biz Project, brought to you courtesy of Hub International. I'm Mark Haney, and today I have the privilege of having the founder of Freeform Factory, Mr. Jordan Darling, in the house. How you doing, Jordan?
Very good, Mark. Thank you.
Is that still your title? You're founder of Freeform Factory, but you've changed over and you're running some other thing now, right? Has that happened yet?
Yeah, it's a slight demotion. I'm now a VP, but I'll take it.
Oh, that's
Very
awkward.
excited.
You go from being the president, CEO, founder to a VP. Tell us the story of how that demotion occurred.
Well, we were growing Freeform, and we were trying to find new drivetrain supplier to take our company to the next level. And I got connected with Trevor Milton, who's the founder and CEO of Nikola Motor Company, and very, very dedicated, motivated individual. So I got the privilege to speak with him for a few hours and told him my story, and we were trying to work out some details on how we can work together and I can scale my business with him. And after 2 or 3 phone calls, he just, thought the best idea was, instead of working in separate companies, why don't I just acquire you and you come work for us?
Wow. So the first time I met you, Jordan, you had just moved to Sacramento from upstate New York. You had this idea of building this jet ski company. You have the lightest jet ski on the market. It's made out of special fiber and all this. And I'm like, why don't you come on my radio show? Let's talk about that. You want to meet to talk about that at my office or your office or on the water? And you said on the water, which was music to my ears. We went out there, you gave me a little ride on the jet ski, and I was given the opportunity to invest in your company. So as an investor and as a guy that loves to see success stories, this demotion, when he decided to invest in your company, invest into Jordan Darling and Freeform, what did that look like? I mean, did he like you more or the company more? Because I think he liked both.
Yeah, no, it was definitely mutual. He was interested in getting into the watercraft space, but realized that if you want to be the best, you got to have the best technology. And we had the technology, we had the patents. We've mastered it over the last several years with the manufacturing of the personal watercraft itself. But he was also looking for someone to run the Powersport division. So I was very, very excited for that role. I love off-road vehicles. I love the watercraft. So to be able to do both and have the best tools, the best team, and the capital to back us to take these products to the next level, it was a no-brainer for us.
Well, when I invested into the company, and I guess I'm proud of it, I keep bringing it up, but when I met you, I mean, I was instantly engaged. We became friends. You came over for dinner. We hung out a lot because you were here basically alone. You had left the family, girlfriend and everything, back home, moved out to Sacramento, of all places, to build this electric jet ski company. What did you think when you first got out here, and how have things progressed over the last couple of years?
Well, I think I've been here for about 1 year and 6 months, so it's been quick. But what I've told a lot of people is what I did in 6 months in California, I didn't do in 2 years in New York. So the ability to get things done faster, more efficiently, and have people like you that believe in what I'm doing, it's been a massive change for us. And it was a little nerve-wracking at first, picking up and moving, 3,300 miles and starting over again. But after 6-7 months, it was clear to us that this was the best place for us, and the company grew very fast. We hired 3 or 4 more employees, and we were scaling. And once we closed that funding round, I think in May of this year, we were kind of figuring, okay, we got to go to this next round, our Series A, and raise a couple million. And at that point, we talked to Trevor, and we came to an agreement that the best plan to move forward is to work together, move into the Nikola Motor Company, and run the Powersports division.
And when did this happen? When did this transition happen?
The deal closed 2 weeks ago yesterday, or tomorrow. So
okay,
very, very recent.
Very fresh. How has this change, how is this change going to affect your business? How is it going to affect your family? How might it affect Sacramento?
So we are going to have an office here in Sacramento region. We'll be announcing the location next week. We're going to have a small office that's going to handle engineering and design for Nikola Powersports. We're very excited to be able to stay here. We like the area. It's a perfect spot for watercraft. We're not going to be in the frozen North Tundra where we came from. But as far as moving forward, it's pretty much the same. Probably going to work as much or more than I did before. We have the big thing is having the right tools to get the job done. Before, I was doing a lot myself and relying on myself. But with the Nikola team, we have some of the best engineers and the best designers around the world. And we have the ability to get the job done better than we could before. So we're very excited. I'm excited. My wife's excited. It's a big change for us. And just looking forward to the next couple of years.
Exciting stuff for Sacramento, because as your business grows, as you grow Nikola, that means jobs. That means economic growth for us, your family. Now, it means you're also stuck here in Sacramento for a while, which makes me happy. And I think it makes a lot of people happy. But your family's talking about moving out here. Is that is that official yet?
Yeah, not official yet, but they're still looking.
Okay, so your wife moved out here after you moved out here, and you guys got married, or your girlfriend got married, and so now you're making Sacramento your hometown, which is cool. But thinking back to the first time I met you, we talk about working an idea, right? What do you do when you have a good idea? Well, you work it, right? That's been, things that we're brought up on as kids is you got to work hard. And if you got a good idea, let's go work those ideas. And I asked you, so Jordan, how many hours a week do you work? And you told me, you may not remember this, but you told me I work about 20 hours, how many hours a day do you work? How many hours a week? And you said, I work 20 hours a day. And at first I got that confused, like I'm doing here on the radio right now. I was like, is it 20 hours a day or 20 hours a week? It's 20 hours a day. And I was really blown away by that. Is that still true? You don't still work 20 hours a day.
Well,
what's it look like now?
The last 3 months, I haven't been doing much besides legal paperwork with this deal. So that's been a little different. But now I got back into the grind of things with Nikola, and we got a lot going on. So I don't know if it'll be 20 hours a day because I am getting older. I feel old.
How old are you now?
25.
You're 25 years old. He just had a super huge, highly lucrative transition. And as an investor, I'm extremely happy about that. But, I can't believe it. I'm just so proud of you. So you don't think you'll work 20 hours. What do you think it's going to be?
That'll probably be 12 to 15.
12 to 15, going part-time.
Part-time, yeah.
Yeah. Just thinking about advice that you might give, right? People look at, we heard the Tyler Smith story, right? He's 34, you're 25. This younger generation, I think entrepreneurship has become a real cool idea for an occupation. What advice would you give to somebody who's thinking about, hey, you just got, you got an idea and you don't know what to do?
Well, the biggest thing is you got to try and you got to fail. The amount of times I've failed, the amount of times I'm sure Tyler's failed, you have to be able to work through the failures. It's not fun. Having a 9-to-5 job, knowing you're going to get a paycheck every 2 weeks is a lot nicer than not getting paid for 3 years. So you have to be able to take massive sacrifices, but if you can do it. It's a lot of fun. The successes obviously are enjoyable. with the failures, there's a lot more failures than there will be successes. So
what kind of failures did you have? You say Tyler talked about failing fast, fail early. Yep. Your business almost didn't have time to fail, but would you fail like on a weekly basis? What's failure look like when you're a 2-year-old company that sells or that merges or whatever happened with you guys?
Yeah, it's on a weekly basis. I mean, initially when we were creating technology no one else has done before, there's no one to bounce ideas off of, or hey, does this work? Because no one's done it. So we spent a lot of money and failed a lot with molds and different manufacturing technology, but I raised a very, very little amount of money to build this company. So, losing $100,000 is a lot of money. And we had a mold failure that cost us nearly $65,000, and it failed in less than 30 seconds. So talk about failing fast. That was January 1st, 2015. Our $60,000 mold exploded into about 1,000 pieces. So,
oh my gosh! What went through your heart? I mean, did you think about quitting? Did you think about because you were still raising money throughout this process? Like, hey, I need money to keep this thing alive. Was there ever a point where you're like, oh no, what am I gonna do?
Oh, that was on a daily basis. Yeah. So it's always figure out. You got to pivot. So if this fails, this doesn't work, you got to be on to the next thing. So what I've learned to do is always have several plans. And if one fails, you're on to the next one before you even can talk about your failure. So we've definitely taken advantage of that plan in several aspects of the business. And the biggest thing is always keep moving forward. I've never gave up. There's several times where it's been close, but the key is just never give up. Keep finding people that believe in it, and eventually everyone will be successful when you get a great exit like we did.
Jordan Darling, successful exit. Proud to call you my friend, and very happy for what you are bringing and have brought to Sacramento. I think we're lucky to have you, Jordan. When we return, we will be joined by the founder of South Bay Scenic, Mr. Danny Burke, is in the house. Join the revolution at HaneyBiz.com, courtesy of the Entrepreneurs Organization of Sacramento and law firm Greenberg Treurig. This is the Haney Biz Project.
And now back to the Haney Biz Project with investorpreneur Mark Haney.
Welcome back to the Haney Biz Project, brought to you courtesy of accounting firm Clifton Larson Allen. I'm Mark Haney, and I am here with the founder of South Bay Scenic, Mr. Danny Burke. How you doing, Danny?
Doing well, thank you.
Good. Now, these mics, you got to talk into a little bit close to them.
All right.
Now, you actually know a lot about sound systems. Tell us about your business.
Yeah, so South Bay Scenic, which is the name is kind of silly because we're no longer in the South Bay. We started out in San Jose. We might become Sac Scenic here. We'll
great.
see.
Yeah,
we'll see. But yeah, so we do event production, so sound, lighting, staging. We kind of specialize. What I say is we specialize in customer service because in this industry, a lot of companies, they do this, but they do what they do. And what we do is what you need,
Okay.
So rather than say we do lights and sound, we say whatever you need, we'll make that happen. We want your event to be the best event. We want you to enjoy your event, not just the people at your event to enjoy it.
Well, last night, you've done a couple of events for us here at Haney Biz. Last night, we did the Ethan Conrad Small Business Contest. I was the MC, and just like other events, I mean, it went off perfectly. I mean, the audio was right on. The audio visual piece for the pitch contest was right on. What goes into making something come off I guess, flawlessly?
Well, I would say basically you need a bag of tricks. So, because for us, we do politics. We do basically on-the-fly events. So you don't know what you're walking into. You don't know what your space has as far as power. You don't know, what kind of room. Some rooms are different for volume. You get loudness, liveness. So it's basically being prepared to handle anything. So yesterday at your event, we have a battery backup. All of our stuff is on battery backup. So if there's a power outage, audio doesn't go down. So things like that.
That's amazing.
And so it's really just having a bag of tricks. We have a case we call our work box that it never gets billed. You never see it on any invoices, but we always have it, and it's just full of tools and things you might need if something happens.
Well, let's talk about where you came up with the idea to start your own business, right? You've turned something into a very successful operation. You've got partners, and the thing is building. But where did this idea start?
Well, I went to college in 2008 and basically started my first semester, I was like, wow, I don't like college. I just did this in high school. I don't want to do this. So I took workout classes and theater classes because I was building sets for theater as a hobby pretty much. And I basically got a job doing that, building sets in the Bay Area. And then I got hired from a friend of mine with a company doing event production. And within 6 months, I was running a crew of 8 guys across the country.
Okay.
Doing events for Mitt Romney's campaign.
Mitt Romney.
Oh,
you were doing the big time stuff.
Yeah, we did his entire campaign. So I got courted really because I had 3 jobs working at different theater companies, and the owner of the company, it's Intuitive Visual Communications, and they're a fantastic company, still around. He said, I need you, tell me what to pay you and like to get you out on the road. I want you on the road. I want you on the road.
Wow.
And so I called all my companies and said, hey guys, I'm sorry. One of them I just started working for like 3 weeks, and then I said, sorry, I got to go. And they said, well, it's a great opportunity. Thanks for your time. So I jumped on the campaign, I started doing events, and it's exhausting work. It's, we're saying he works 20 hours a day. That's what it is for us too.
Wow.
When you're on the road, you do an event, you drive, you take the event down, you pack it up, you drive to the next one, you set it up. It's right. constant work.
Now, was this your own business at the time, or were you an employee?
No, I was an employee.
So you were an employee working 20 hours a day plus on a campaign that Mitt Romney didn't work out so well. But you did other stuff beyond that, right? I mean, you started doing other campaigns, other political campaigns?
Yeah, so basically, the campaign didn't work out. Worked for them for a year. We parted ways in 2014, and I said, I'm going to try this on my own.
Okay.
And so I did that for a year, basically, and Steven and Mark, who are my 2 business partners now, they were my number 1 and number 2 guys, helping me with everything I did.
Gotcha.
And I was just getting buried doing it by myself, trying to run the events and the company. And Mark actually finished college. He's good at that type of thing. And so he said, hey, let's not go halfway, let's go all the way, let's be partners, and then we can put our time in and do it right. So in the beginning of 2015, we started the official South Bay Scenic.
And how has it gone since you started? So what were the thoughts as you started? I mean, obviously it's a lot more fun to do something with your buddies for a lot of us, but have there been ups and downs with the partnership, or has it been smooth sailing?
I would say the partnership's solid. Basically, I've known these 2 guys for 10 years plus. Not only are they great business partners, but what we said when we going in is more than, we might not be good at business yet. We're all young, just trying to figure this out, but we trust each other. Mm-hmm. So, we always know we got each other's backs. If we get backed into a corner, we're going to help each other rather than say, play the blame game or whatever that is. We're going to work together to improve the company. But there have definitely been ups, and there have definitely been downs. The first year, I think our salaries were $15,000 a piece.
A piece, yeah. 20. Was it a 20-hour a day kind of thing, and 15,000?
It really was.
So that's a little below, what you're supposed to get paid.
Our hourly rate was pretty terrible, but it really was because we were just, we didn't go into this with other jobs or anything. We went all in.
Wow.
We said, we're going to make this happen. And so
you invested your time.
We invested our time. We had $5,000. We bought a terrible little sound system and soundboard and a couple lights. And basically, through my connections of having done this in the industry, they Intuitive, they helped us out. They hooked us up with some clients that they basically were too small for them to handle anymore. And then we... 8 months after starting the company, we got our first lucky break got the opportunity to do an event for John Kasich running for president.
Wow.
And it was in New Hampshire. So we took our terrible little sound system and flew it across the country. And basically,
we should have flown out there and bought a new one, huh?
Right. And so we bought equipment in New Hampshire. We got a storage unit. We basically lived in New Hampshire for like 4 months and just built the company out there. And then...
have you guys done campaigns for anybody who's won?
Before we formed South Bay Scenic, we did Bush. What is his name? Bruce Rauner out of Illinois. He is now the governor of Illinois.
No, seriously, I say this jokingly because you guys, you've helped me out a couple of times, obviously small time gigs here at Haney Biz, but it has gone perfectly. And I knew that life doesn't go off perfectly. Have you ever had one of these events where there was a catastrophe?
I don't think so. I think we've avoided
good.
catastrophes.
It's that toolkit that you rely on. It's like
we've definitely. Anything. I mean, we did the Hillary Clinton campaign, and that one, I would say that was the closest to catastrophe. The first event, I got a call on a Sunday night to do an event on a Tuesday morning. Again, I was in Sacramento, and the event was in Virginia, and so I had a day to pull an event out of my butt.
Oh wow!
But. We made it happen. Mark flew out. I flew out that night. Mark flew out the next day. We sourced gear. We made it happen, and that got us, because we made that event happen and they were scrambling and we were scrambling, that got us the contract. They said, you made that happen.
Wow.
And so that, that was...
That flexibility, that work ethic, that think on the fly, teamwork thing. What would you say... in closing out this segment, what would you say to entrepreneurs, right? You're 28 years old. What would you say to other people who are youthful and young? Maybe they're just young at heart, but they're thinking they have a good idea. They're thinking they might want to do something in the world of entrepreneurship. Any advice from you, Danny?
I would say reach out to people you know. Don't be afraid to ask for help, and don't be afraid to ask for advice. Talk to people. People want to help. If you have a great idea, if you're excited about it, people are going to be excited for you, and they're going to want to come out and help you.
Don't keep it inside.
Don't keep it inside.
Start talking about it. Yeah. Love it. Well, next week, I want to thank you for coming on the show, Danny. Next week, we got Barry Broom, CEO of Greater Sacramento Economic Council, and John Allard, the founder and CEO of Molly Maids. He's also a city councilman of the city of Roseville, and along with Laura Good and Jeff Bennett of Startup Sac. Going to be a great show. We're going to be talking about what we're thankful for. It's Thanksgiving weekend. Should be a ton of fun. When we return, we will share our takeaways and closing thoughts about what to do with a great idea. Join the revolution at HaneyBiz.com, courtesy of Ethan Conrad Properties and financial advisors, Stifel Financial. This is the Haney Biz Project.
Welcome back for Mark's takeaways from today's Haney Biz Project.
Welcome back to the Haney Biz Project, brought to you courtesy of Silver's HR. I'm Mark Haney, and today I am back here with Marcus Haney to share our closing thoughts about what to do with a great idea. We met some guys today, Marcus, or we actually already knew these guys. We met some entrepreneurial studs that had great entrepreneurial ideas, and they decided we are going to go work those ideas with an emphasis on the word work. I mean, thoughts, takeaways today?
No doubt. I mean, I heard from the three guys that were on our show today, and they all work 20 hours a week each.
How does that happen? I've never worked 20 hours a week in my life.
I agree, and I feel like I work pretty hard.
A day.
Oh,
Sorry.
well, hey,
Yeah.
Either way, right?
Maybe.
But something Tyler Smith said that I thought was pretty interesting, we were talking about during the break, is the fail fast, fail hard, and pick yourself up and keep on trucking to find that next seam to approach.
Yeah, I think, as these guys were talking, right, with these young guys, Tyler being the oldest at 34 with his huge successful exit, Jordan with a successful exit as well, and with Danny building up for his, chasing his dream with his partners, I just couldn't help but thinking about where we learn that ethic, that work ethic right? The 20 hours a day work ethic. And I would have to say that I learned my work ethic maybe in sports, right? On the football field, on the baseball field, from some coaches, and maybe from sometimes when it didn't go so well, right? I can remember the time, we've talked about this a little bit, where I thought I was going to make the all-star team, and as they called out the names, as they got to like number 14, I'm 12 years old, and my name wasn't called. It was so disappointing, and I started going for a run and started running around the track at Roseville High School as a 12-year-old, and you know what, Marcus? I've been running ever since.
Oh,
it's just the way it is. I think sometimes when you have this... you call it fail fast. When you have these earlier setbacks, it teaches you, you go two ways. You can sit there and complain about it and cry about it and be a victim, or you can suck it up. Because when I did that as a kid, nobody listened to me. I tried probably crying and complaining, but it didn't work. So I've been running and chasing ever since. And even at 54, that's what I'm still doing. But so what do we do with a good idea? I jotted down a couple notes of things that I think we ought to consider. I consider when I don't have a great idea very often, but if I ever have an idea, I write it down and I revisit it. Here inside Mark Tank at the Haney Biz Center, we have dry erase boards all around the room. When I have an idea, I write it down on the dry erase board, or I'll type it into my Evernote, right? Sometimes the best ideas end up going onto my business card, right? My goals. I don't have my business card in my pocket, but I'll write down my goals and my vision and the things that are most important to me in my life. I have them written down and I revisit them all the time. And now, at some point, they're tattooed to our soul. You don't even need to revisit it because they're so ingrained inside us. So I always like to write it down. I like to revisit it. And it gives you that opportunity to really CAT scan that opportunity if it's in front of your face. It makes you think it through when you revisit it. The second thing that I like to do is I like to test early and often. And we heard that today. Fail fast, but fail with a violence of action. Don't fail at half speed because you really don't learn when you are at half speed, right? Half speed failure is not real failure. It's like phony failure, if you will. It doesn't really teach you anything. But when you go all in on something, all in, even if you're just testing, you really learn that way. So be sure to test early and often. And, Jordan Darling, we didn't get into this too much, but Jordan Darling built a jet ski company, and he never sold one jet ski, and he had this huge exit and, was very successful. But I like to figure out, if it's a business idea, I like to figure out what people will buy, right? So when I start testing, I'm testing with customers. I'm testing with, and he got it out there in a lot of cool riders using it. I even rode those jet skis, but I like to see what'll sell, right? I'm old-fashioned. I got to make sure I sell something, and I think a lot of us sometimes we have these cool ideas. If you build it, they will come. Well, for Jordan Darling, he didn't even need to sell anything, and the acquirer came along. So good for you, Jordan Darling. But the other thing that I like to make sure I think about if I've got a great idea is that anything that I do, I have to surround myself with good people. Right? I have to bring good people around me, bring some A students around me, some ambitious people around me, because we heard that today from Danny with South Bay Scenic, right? He brought in other guys that like to work 20 hours a day, right? He's not the only 20-hour-a-day guy on the team. So if you think about it, Marcus, like, who are the most ambitious people in your world? And have we surrounded ourselves with the most ambitious people we know? Because I tell you, that feeds the energy. That if you want to get something done fast, if you want to get something done by the time you're 28 years old or 34 years old, you have to have people around you that aren't at half speed.
Yeah, that match your intensity a little bit.
You have to have people around you that match your intensity, right? You think about it, there's 168 hours a week, and if you really only need to sleep, 40 hours a week, right? So there's plenty of time to work and maybe snack along the way, right? So absolutely. There is more time than we think. And I think breaking the rules is something we touched on today. And the rules of society say 40 hours a week is the right number. You know what? 40 hours a week is part-time for the most successful entrepreneurs that I know. So with that said, I guess I can say that I'm impressed today. I think we ought to congratulate and maybe tip our cap. Again, we talk about this being a show about success stories. Tip our cap to the people that are building the success stories here in Sacramento. They changed lives for their family. They changed lives for their friends. And you know what? They changed the lives of the people right here in Sacramento. So a salute out to Jordan Darling, Tyler Smith, and Danny Burke. This is the greatest time in America ever to be an entrepreneur. And the entrepreneurs are the heroes of capitalism, right? The entrepreneurs are the guys risking it all, even if it starts off with just a 20-hour week. It's a risk because not everything works out, as we know. A salute to all of you that are fighting the good fight for our freedom, Marcus, our security, and our way of life. To the 13 stripes, to the 50 stars, and to the one big American idea, always worth fighting for, yours. Never above you, never below you.
Always by your side.